Alright, so you're looking at this 2007 Hyundai Azera with the 3.8 V6, and it came in to get brakes, calipers. The front got new calipers, new brakes, for those that didn't already watch that video, and the back got rotors, obviously pads, and the front rotors, pads, and calipers. So we did all that. The car came in with metal to metal grinding, and we installed all those parts. We were also going to flush, bleed the brake fluid. It was really black and nasty, so we got all new brake fluid in there. We got everything installed. I'm going to show you real quick. So it's been raining, so you see a little bit of the rust on the rotors, but there's the new pads, there's the new calipers, there's the new rotors, right? And you can see this wheel, spin it, it spins. It's not in neutral, so it's going to spin a little harder, but it spins. Everything's tight like when you get a brand new pair of boots. So there's the brand new pads, brand new caliper, brand new rotor again on this side, and this side will spin. Over here, brand new pads, same caliper, new rotor. And so we're going to spin this wheel. It's front wheel drive, so the front spins a little harder than the back, just free spins. So that's spinning without a problem. And then we're going to come over here to this wheel and show you brand new pad, same caliper, brand new rotors. And as you can see, it spins freely without a problem. Now, when you bleed this car, you bleed this car crisscross. So you go from passenger rear wheel, crack that loose, bleed it, to the front driver's wheel, and then you come back to the driver's rear and go back to the passenger front. So passenger rear, driver front, driver rear, passenger front. You go cross that way, back this way, cross this way. That's how you bleed these. On other cars, you bleed starting from the furthest wheel from the master cylinder, and you work your way up. So you'd go from here to there, to there, to there. On this car, you go from here to there, to there, to there. So something else we did, just to confirm, we're having some issue where we're not getting any brake fluid coming out of this caliper. And that's the metal line right there where the brake fluid comes in from under the car. And then there's the rubber line where it connects to the back of the caliper. And so we disconnected this here and disconnected it at the ABS pump at the top of the engine, and blew air from the compressor through here to see if there was any gunk in the line that was keeping it from blowing out. And just a lot of air and some brake fluid sputtered out. So we know this line is clear and free of any restriction. Then we also, when we had this line out, blew in through here while we had the caliper. Let's see if I can get it on the camera. Hold on, work with me, Danny. The back of the caliper, I'm gonna have to lay on this wet concrete. It rained, but whatever, just to show you guys. Okay, so you see that nipple that's up here? That's where you bleed it from. So we disconnected it, the hose, and blew out here, and no junk came out of there. Then we connected it here and poured fluid straight into the top of the hose, and it trickled out of here. So there's no restriction in this caliper and the lines at all. that line will run underneath this gas tank over to the other side, and all the lines run under that plastic cover under the car towards the front of the car. So this is the only caliper that when you bleed it does not get air coming out of the back of it. Another thing I'll note why I got it on camera is this. See, this is a little adapter that it's missing, like a little rubber grommet that goes right there, and the old brakes will have it, and then you transfer it onto the new rotor when you get a new rotor. But this car only had one for one side. It didn't have it for both sides. I'll show it to you over here on this side. There it is. So that little rubber thing is just like a dust shield, and you stick a flathead in it and pop it out, and you can inspect inside for the rear shoes. So when you don't have that there, water and all other kind of stuff can get in there, and you want to get that little rubber cover. You don't want that open and exposed. I'm sure you can get it at a junkyard, you can get it at probably O'Reilly's, something like that. I know definitely the dealership would have it, but you need to get another rubber thing like that to keep that sealed and blocked off. So that spins freely. And all these wheels, front driver, all of them, brake fluid comes out of. So the ABS pump is behind this fender, and I cracked everything in the first video and bled it from there, bled it from the master cylinder, made sure there was no air bubbles that were being stubborn and didn't want to get out. And I'm getting no fluid coming out of the master cylinder for the line that goes to the back passenger wheel. So I blew out that line, and I know that there's nothing restricting the line. And when I disconnected the line at the ABS pump where it pumps, because it goes from the master cylinder, you have your primary and secondary going into the ABS pump, and then you have two lines on the outside of the ABS pump that go to the front calipers, and then you have the two in the middle that run to the back of the vehicle. And out of the two in the middle, the one on this side closest to the firewall would drip fluid, and that's for the driver's rear. And the one closest to the front radiator out of the two in the middle, that one goes to the passenger rear, and there's no brake fluid coming out of that one. So for some reason the failure is in the ABS pump, and it needs to be replaced. So I'm going to show you guys what happens. So just like I spinned it and you saw that all four wheels spin, I'm going to show you what happens when you apply the brakes. So here we go, we're going to apply the brake, right? The pedal feels nice and hard too, by the way. I'm going to pump the brake pedal a couple times, right? And then we're going to go and spin the wheels again to show you which wheels spin and which don't. So the front wheel still spins and moves. And I'm actually going to put it in neutral just to make the point even clearer, because right now it's engaged, it's in some park, it's in gear, the transmission. Okay, so we put it in neutral. And then we're going to come out here and spin this wheel. And it still spins. See? So this wheel is free and moving. And this one won't. It's locked. It is clamped on. So that caliper, when I pump the brake pedal, grabbed, and it doesn't want to release. It's not venting the fluid back out of the caliper to allow it to release. So then if we go here, this one spins super easy. And that's the one that's not even getting fluid. And then we come over here, and this one's Also locked, won't vent fluid. So why would it be locked? Why would no fluid come out of that? Well, think about it. It's hydraulic system, hydraulic pressure. When you pump the brake pedal, it pumps from the master cylinder, right? That's what it is. It's a pump. You have the booster behind it, and the master cylinder is pumping, and that hydraulic pressure is coming and filling the piston and the caliper, and then it expands the pads, clamps down on the rotor, and when you release your foot off the brake, fluid should extract. The pressure should be relieved. That hydraulic pressure should be relieved. It's not being relieved. So then you would think there's got to be an expansion valve in the back somewhere. There's got to be, something like that. Well, I looked under the hood, and there is no expansion valve. There is none of that going on there. So that's not what's going on. Well, this is a ratchet, and on one end it's an 8mm, on the other end it's a 10mm. So we're going to use this ratchet, and we're going to relieve that pressure to show you guys what happens, how the wheel will all of a sudden want to spin again. So you can see here the wheel won't spin, right? So we remove the little rubber boot protector. I'm trying to one-hand this and record at the same time. So we put a wrench on there, and we crack it loose. So some brake fluid comes out, obviously. So we know we're getting fluid back here, right? And nothing. So now it spins. See that? So the pressure is not being relieved unless I manually relieve it with a wrench. We'll go and we'll do the same thing on this front wheel. So lay down under here. I'll probably want to go under the car where I could access that bleeder right there, and we'll put the wrench on it, right? And we're gonna crack it loose. Look, now I can spin it. Tighten it back up. And now the pressure was relieved from the caliper. Okay. So we're gonna get up and talk about this a little bit. Now keep in mind that we said it goes kind of crisscross on this. So from the passenger rear, I think I'm blocking the camera. There we go. From the passenger rear to the driver's front. From the driver's rear to the passenger front. So our problem, it goes crisscross on this. So our problem is from the driver's rear to the passenger front getting locked up, and our passenger rear is not getting any fluid to it. What would control all that? Your ABS pump. What controls the ABS pump? The ABS module. So, again, these wheels are all spinning free again. So it's not that I mechanically did anything wrong when I installed them. If I didn't install those brakes right, I wouldn't be able to spin it. if there was the wrong rotors or the caliper was bad or something like that, or they were too big or whatever, gazillion excuses your little brain could be thinking of, it would not be spinning like that. And so this car needs an ABS pump. And the car didn't come here to get an ABS pump. It came here to get rotors and calipers. Now what happens is, I come back in here, it's already in neutral, right? So I'm going to put my foot on the brake and I'm going to pump it this one time, and that's it. Let's see if that wheel's locked up. Look. Can't move it again. Still can move it. Can't move it. Still can move it. So that's the problem. Pretty big problem too, right, guys? So now what are you gonna do? You know, you can't drive like this. So there's some other guy on YouTube that made a video where he's talking about if you're having problems with your ABS pump to he says to, if you're having problems with the ABS pump, to drive it like in an open field or somewhere where it's safe, do a couple miles per hour and then slam on the brakes, and then do a couple miles per hour and slam on the brakes again. And pretty much what he's saying is to keep doing that, and that will like fix the ABS pump if it's stuck sometimes, is what he's claiming. I don't know. I mean, it's obviously worked for him, right? We're not going to call him a liar. So it's obviously worked for him. I don't see why it wouldn't be worth a shot. But that's really all that's left to try. Spinning again. That's really all there is left to try to do at this point, because at this point, it's not that the wheels or the calipers are installed wrong. It's not that there's anything wrong with the rotors or the calipers. It's that we have a problem with the ABS pump not relieving pressure from these wheels, driver's rear to passenger front. And we're not getting any fluid from driver's front to passenger rear. That's all ABS related. And you know what's funny? Even funnier, we got no ABS light. So we got a TPMS light on the bottom right here, but we got no ABS light. So yeah, no light, no ABS light on the dash. I scanned it with the big scanner. They have a fancy $1,000 scanner that you can activate individual components with, and activate the ABS pump and deactivate it and stuff like that to try to get it to act right. If not, you drive it in a field and try to force it to come back to normality by driving it, slamming on the brakes, driving it, slamming it on the brakes until you get it to act right. And then after you do that, then you come and you bleed it again, and supposedly that kind of helped cleared whatever was clogged in the ABS pump. But in this case, not the case. And there's nothing we can do other than replace the ABS pump. We don't really have an empty field we can go drive it in. You know, the ABS pump's a little bit of a booger to get to. You gotta remove all this, which I already did. And it hides all the way down there. And in the other video, I'm not going to waste too much time. I already explained which lines. So that one that you can clearly see is the one that's not getting any fluid out of it. But the master cylinder is doing everything it needs to do. So it's clearly the ABS pump that failed on this car. And it wasn't properly diagnosed because he was told, oh, you just need a caliper, some calipers and some brakes, and you're good to go. But he needs a little more than that. He needs an ABS pump. It's like $200 on eBay, but the thing is, it's like you gotta wait for it to arrive. So I can't leave this car here. I don't have a Pet Boys parking lot, you know. So this car is gonna have to go back to his house until the pump arrives, and yada yada yada. Right? So I did what I needed to do. I can't leave the car here for a couple days until the part arrives. It is what it is. I'm gonna have to figure out how to get it back to him. Put it on my truck, put it on my trailer, take it to his house, and go from there. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you have a Hyundai Azera 2007 and you're having a problem with your brakes, I hope this video was of some use to you and helped you figure out that, hey, maybe you should look at your ABS pump, right? Anyways, thanks for watching. Have a good night.